Tonight I've got brand new guests. Chris Annino. Chris,
Yes.
welcome to the program.
Hey, Marty, good to see you.
And he had reached out to me a handful of months ago and expressed an interest in coming on the show. And this has been the first opportunity that we've had to connect, and I'm really tickled. You've got quite a story to tell.
Yes, I'm a big fan of your show. I enjoy it greatly.
And you've got a lovely young lady to your right, and her name's Vanessa, and she's your business partner, but more importantly, your fiancée.
Yes, so if I don't do well, we'll lose business. No, I'm kidding.
I think you'll do just fine here. Now, her last name was a mouthful, so I'm going to let you introduce her.
Vanessa Marchewka, she's the co-owner of the New England Music Hall of Fame, and she's also a pro wrestling manager.
Very nice. Well, welcome. And I've just met both these folks a few moments ago before coming on the set, so we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. And Chris has got, I think, a terrific story to tell, and I got a feeling when we bring in Vanessa's role in things, she's going to have a terrific story to tell too.
Thank
so
you,
between the
yes.
two of you, it's going to be a good program.
Good program. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
So you're a local guy, and it sounded, going through your background material, that you had a pretty tough time growing up. I mean, just things weren't exactly leave it to Beaver.
No, and it still is like that. It's just, it was difficult growing up, but I was around a lot of good family people in my life. My mother, my father, they were good people, and my family as well, they were good. It was just hard because kids can be not so nice, in school. Some teachers can be not so nice, not all, but some, And maybe it's them, maybe they don't want to be at that job. A lot of teachers I noticed can be like that, but I had a lot of teachers that were very influential. And, it's when I was a kid, they didn't really know what learning disabilities were so much. They were still learning about things like that. So I had several neurological diagnoses that they didn't really fully understand or comprehend. So some teachers thought I'd be alluded that or felt that I was not working as hard or whatever. They thought it's more on me, but it really was because I had a hard time understanding what they were expressing. I had some moderate dyslexia, or as what I like to call lysdexia. Why did I give them a long word for someone who have a hard time reading? Dyslexia, but I never understood that. But I also had comedy when I was growing up. My family was very comedic. Mm-hmm. So we never really saw it as a bad thing. We just, hey, it's something and it's all right, and we make a positive out of it than a negative. And I just worked harder. That was the whole thing. Because,
And did you grow up here in Groton, or you grow up in Rhode Island, or a little bit of both?
Part of Rhode Island, and then I moved because my dad was in the Navy, and so we went to Groton Sub Base there, and we moved to near where Eastern Point Beach is.
Okay.
We lived not too far from there originally, and I love it here, man. I love living here, and I liked Rhode Island too, but I like here. This is my home. I went to Fitch High School, and was in the drama club there. And again, it's weird. I didn't have a hard time in high school. I had a harder time in elementary school and middle school. I went to a place that's no longer there anymore. That's how old I am, called Freeman Hathaway. And then I went to Mystic Academy, which is now Academy Point. Then I went to Butler. All three schools are now closed. But then I went to Cutler.
In your wake, they've closed.
Yeah. And I was there, every school I was at, I was there like the last year, and they closed afterwards. But when I went to high school for Fitch High School, I think by studying more and not partying like people were doing back then, I finally got more confident and repetition, and I did very well. I was runner for poet laureate. I mean, somebody who has dyslexia, being a poet laureate runner up is pretty good. And then played sports, football, track and field. Went to ECCs. We won states.
Well, you're a pretty big guy now. When you played football, what positions you play?
I was offensive line. Yeah, more left tackle, left guard.
So we have something in common there. You know, I played it in London.
Okay.
But I played left guard for the Whalers.
Was it because you were left-handed?
I am left-handed.
Me too.
But no, that's just kind of where I ended up. That's where the coaches put me, and
they put me there because I was the only left-handed guy, and I said, "Well, we'll put you there."
But we had some nice squads back in the day.
Yeah, you did.
I think I've got you beat by 1 or 2 years.
A few. Yeah. No, we had that one magic season where we went to the States, and that was cool. I didn't get to play that game.
That's too bad.
Yeah. But that's probably why they won.
Yeah. But going through your background material, I mean, it looks like, between athletics and you mentioned, being a thespian, and you like being in that realm of acting.
Yeah.
And so you've
Well, it was
got your toe into a number of places.
What I saw as a kid was somebody told me there was a runner that lived up the street from me. And his name was Johnny Kelly. And Johnny Kelly won the Boston Marathon.
That's right.
Yeah. And I didn't know who he was. He was just kind of like my next door neighbor. And every time I'd see him, he'd walk up around, and I'd walk with him. And I just knew, somebody told me he was a teacher from back in the day. So I would ask him stuff, and he'd give me like knowledge, right? He was very deep into philosophy. Anyway, one day I went to his house, and I sat on his couch, right? And I sat on something. I pulled it up. It was a gold medal from the Pan American Games when he won it. And I'm like, Johnny, what's this? He's like, oh, don't worry. That's just a gold medal. I won it at some marathon for the Pan American Games. I was amazed. So then he taught me more. He told me more about how to view life. You shouldn't be stuck in one thing. You should know many things so you can be knowledgeable, because knowledge erases ignorance. That was the biggest thing he taught me. Knowledge erases ignorance, and you can gain knowledge through knowing, through experiencing life. And he just says, experiment with what you are, find out what you're good at, but also find out what you are interested in. Well, clearly I'm not built to be a ballet dancer, right? But maybe I can get something out of that. Maybe that could help me in some way. Ballet actually helped me. I did ballet at one point to get more flexible and to do better in sports. So I was able to partake in the NCAA Division III for Mitchell College. Their first year they had lacrosse. I didn't even know how to play lacrosse, but they let me play. It was because of the knowledge I was able to get just from learning.
And they don't have a football program.
God, no. I wish they did. They had rugby, and I was on the first rugby team they ever had, which it's more of a club. It's not really an NCAA thing, but I loved playing for them.
Nice.
Yeah. And again, Mitchell helped me go to other things. I got an internship with a guy named Stan Lee. He's the creator of Spider-Man. And I got to stay with Stan Lee at his place, and I got to meet Lou Ferrigno. I got to meet Hugh Hefner, all these people, and I became friends with Stan. Stan also taught me, Stan was another person that taught me the importance of people. That was the biggest thing he taught me. And he would be in his office, hanging out, And he'd talk to the custodian all day about baseball, and that's what I liked about him. He would tell all these executives to hold, and he would talk to this guy, and he expressed to me that everyone is important. Everyone has importance in life, and you should listen to people, because again, it goes back to what Johnny said. You gain knowledge, and I only
You'll always learn more by listening than by
Yeah.
by talking.
that, or even by reacting. Reacting to something is practically useless. If you get angry with somebody for no particular reason, then you've just wasted time that you could have learned about them. Like why is this person disagreeing? Well, maybe they have a different viewpoint. Maybe their viewpoint's correct. Stuff like that. But
Yeah.
with that, I had a laundry list of things I wanted to do as a kid and didn't think I could, and I was thankful that I could. And playing sports was a big thing because I know I look big now, but I really wasn't that good in sports when I was a kid. I had to work hard for it. And 2014, I set a world record. I pulled a 3,000-pound SUV for a mile. And that made it on WTNH News. And
So that's in the Guinness Book of World Records?
we presented it to them, but this is the thing with the Guinness Book of World Records. I'm glad you brought that up. Say you wanted to do a world record, well, you would have to pay Guinness to come, $3,000, for them to judge it and for them to officially see it as a Guinness World Record. It's a world record, but
So they have not acknowledged.
they have not acknowledged it, unfortunately.
That's too bad.
We had to pay them $3,000 to do it. I guess that's like a bribe, I guess. But
That's how they make their money, apparently.
yeah, they have to print those books every year. Guinness doesn't support them anymore. But
So Vanessa, what's your claim to fame? I mean, are you a local girl, or if not, what brought you into Southeastern Connecticut?
So I grew up in Southington, and I was always interested in wrestling and things. And before COVID happened and things, I was going to go into law school because I graduated with my bachelor's in criminology at CCSU. And what happened was, COVID happened, and no one can go anywhere and things. So I was at home a lot, and I was watching wrestling quite a bit. And
Now, when you say wrestling, do you mean like World WWE, or do you mean like Olympic wrestling?
WWE wrestling, and I started looking at wrestling schools, and I found one in East Haven, Connecticut, with Mario Mancini, and Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, and Mario took me under his wing. He was very sweet and kind to me, and I think if, I'm very sensitive and things, and no one believed in me growing up as a kid, and when I went into that school, he was the only one that believed in me, and he just took me under his wing, and he helped me and stuff, and I'm still training to be a wrestler, and I want to be a wrestler. Right now I'm managing Chris and things. He has a lot of different gimmicks. He's been in the business more than I have been, but it's like a big family of wrestling, and it's just a great opportunity. I've been getting places in New Jersey and Florida, and I didn't think I would be able to get all these different things, but the more I've been doing this, the more opportunities are coming about.
yeah, she's we've
Did you guys meet through wrestling?
Yeah, that's how we met.
I was practicing at Paradise Alley, and I met her there. Actually, I like she said, I was trained. Well, I was trained by. I don't know if you remember this guy. His name's Jimmy Valiant, Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant.
I can't say that I have, but that's okay.
Jimmy Valiant wrestled. He's wrestled since the 60s, and he's still wrestling now. And he teamed up with a guy named Johnny Valiant in WWF, and Captain Lou Albano was their manager. and they were the Valiant brothers. Well, Jimmy trained me. ECW original Gary Wolf trained me. And I was originally brought into wrestling when I was 16. Is a gentleman named Bad News Walter Swan, who lived in Mystic. And he was like 6'5" and weighed 400 pounds.
Big guy.
Big guy. And then you live in New London. There was a restaurant called
Carlos.
Yeah.
Louis Esposito.
Yes, sir. He brought me into that. I go to his restaurant all the time with my dad, and I would look at all those amazing pictures of Andre the Giant and Fabulous Moolah, Hogan, Argentine Rocco, Haystacks Calhoun, and he'd always look at me, and he's like, "What's the matter with you, kid?" And I was like, he said, "I want to do that." He said, "You want to do that?" I'm like, "Yeah." All right, and he would let me go in the back, and he'd teach me some moves. And I remember we'd order spaghetti there, right? And he'd have weights in the back, and he'd be doing curls, strict curls in the back. And I remember the pasta took so long, but it was cool because he would come out, he'd tell us stories, he'd show me some wrestling moves. So that's where I was originally introduced to it. My friend Walter Swan introduced me to him actually at first, and then my dad would bring me because I would like bug him, like, "Can we go see?" He's like, so once
When I was a young fella,
Yeah.
Teenager, early 20s, before the Ocean Beach converted what used to be a gymnasium, which is now the banquet hall.
Yeah.
They used to have wrestling in there periodically,
Yeah.
so it was kind of a big kick to go down there and see all these guys that you were just naming, including Mr. Esposito, the
Yes.
local guy, come in here into New London to wrestle at Ocean Beach Park. Chief J. Strongbow.
You know who did that, right? I did research on this recently, and I'd love to do a documentary about this. Joe was called, so in wrestling, there's the promoter, and then there's the booker. So he was booking those shows. So he was doing business, okay? And there's a guy named the Stanford Stomper, Tony Altimore. Tony Altimore trained a lot of the big-time names. I believe he trained Joe. And Joe wrestled as Mighty Joe Esposito. There's actually some videos of him still wrestling, right? And usually, from what I saw on some of the cards, Joe, he would go against, he'd usually go against Tony Altimore and Chief J. Strongbow. Funny you mentioned that. And Chief J. Strongbow was actually Italian.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And they'd all eat at his restaurant afterwards. It's pretty cool. I mean,
They'd pack him in down at the beach. It was a lot of fun in the day.
I wish more was said about him because he was really good for the community, and it would be nice if the New London Historical Society did a nice little thing about him. Yeah. But no, that's how I was introduced, and then I got trained by those guys. I did go to Kowalski School for like a week, but he didn't know I was like 17. You had to be 18.
Ah.
So I got in trouble. He's a nice guy. He just was like,
Killer Kowalski.
yeah, 6'5", and his hands were like this. And you think he's like the meanest guy, but he was the nicest. He was a vegetarian too.
I didn't know that.
He was a vegetarian, and he loved taking photos. He was a good photographer. And there was a guy in Danielson, Connecticut called Dox Baker. He was on the Tim and Lou Dog show every once in a while. He was everything that you saw and more. He would scream and yell, and he had like this long, devilish-looking beard with the eyebrows. In real life, his real name's Doug. He was a nice guy, but oh my God, he didn't turn it off. He was always in character. But I've been able to travel around the world I'm going to be wrestling in New Jersey, actually.
So you actively wrestle now.
Yes.
Now, is this Band-Aid on your right foot? Is this?
Oh, is that it? Here we go.
Holy Chris, I get a picture.
I got you. This is a photo of Ox Baker we're kind of giving tribute to. And I'll be,
Right in the studio.
is it right here?
Right in the studio.
I love this guy, man. I think this is the old studio, actually. This was the old studio in Groton when it was at Comcast. Yeah, so this is Ox Baker and Tim and the Lou Dog. And Ox was actually good friends with superstar Billy Graham. And, you know, a lot to do with him. He had what's called the hurt punch. And what he would do is he would, he'd punch you as hard as he can on your chest. And he actually did kill a wrestler, but he actually was a really nice guy. Jimmy Valiant was dear friends with him. And, yeah, Connecticut guy, Ox Baker. And we used to hang out. I was just talking about him. We went out for wings once, and he gets all amped up and into it. He's like, "Arr, arr, arr, arr," and he eats like an animal, and he bit into a wing, and his tooth popped out.
Oh boy!
But because he was so amped up and into his character. But yeah, I mean, I still wrestle, and everyone says, "Well, is wrestling real or fake or whatever?" Well, I know this. I know it's real because I've been injured for real.
Is this a wrestling injury?
This is definitely a wrestling injury. Unfortunately, I messed my leg up here. I don't know if I can see it. I have an air cast on.
He's got on a big boot on his right foot, and right up almost to his knee.
Well, this one just healed right here. I was going over the top rope, and my pectoral muscle, like, it tore. And, you know, I was going over my whole body, and then all of a sudden they moved me, and I went, yeah, so here it is. So this injury right here was given to me by a guy named Iron Kaiser in Florida. So the Iron Kaiser, he actually put my foot in what's called a leg DDT, where he puts his full body backwards as I'm on the ground. And he messed my foot up right here. So unfortunately, I'm still wrestling, but I'm going to have to tape this up on Sunday. And I'm going to be wrestling in it's called a three-way match, where there's three people in the ring going at once. So.
Sounds kind of dangerous.
You know what's weird? The three-way matches aren't as dangerous. Because you know, you can kind of control it a little bit. It's more of like, the ones that are dangerous are the battle royales, where there's like everyone in a ring. Those are the ones that you can get really messed up in. This one had my worst injury for this one.
Well, let me ask you a question, and that is,
Sure.
How old are you?
38.
38. Yeah. So you're at the cusp here. I mean, you're not a young guy to be doing this type of stuff here. I mean, this, I would think, is more for people in their 20s that are, you can get hurt.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I mean, or are you dealing with others who are in the same age bracket? Older or younger, for that matter. I mean, 30s, early 40s.
I'm dealing with people that are kind of in the same age bracket, but also like the 20-year-olds, I'm going to be honest. This is going to sound bad, but like, it's interesting because when I was 20, everyone was like lifting weights and like deadly. Like they were just stronger and more intense. Whereas these guys that are 20s now, they don't go to the gym at all. They don't lift weights. They do like a lot of cardio stuff, and
Are they soft or?
yeah. And so like when I was younger watching wrestling, you had guys that were like muscular, in shape, and I mean, when I started, when you got hit with a clothesline, it was laid into you, and you fell backwards. These guys, when they hit you with a clothesline, you don't feel anything. So it's almost, and I'm not even trying to say anything negative toward anyone, but I also noticed it in athletics too. When we played football, and when you played football, it was hard hitting. And now there's all these rules where it's almost like it's flag football. So, should I, am I too old for it? I mean, it's the weird thing is I'm more athletic now than I was then, because I'm doing things like, is a move where I'll go up to the top rope and I'll jump and dive across the ring and land on someone's chest with my head. I normally would not do that when I was younger, but because maybe I have muscle memory, I guess, I'd give myself maybe 5 more years left in the ring. There's a guy, I don't know if you remember this wrestler, his name was Harley Race. You remember Harley Race?
I don't, to be honest with you.
Harley Race.
Now, do you do this stuff locally, or are you all over the country? I mean, where are you?
All over the world.
All over the world.
Yeah, I was in Costa Rica. I was in Mexico, Canada. I'm going to Florida. When is that?
March 22nd.
Yeah, March 22nd at Circle S Barbecue for NCW, Neg Dog Championship Wrestling. I'm going there. And I'm going to be confronting the guy who did this.
Now, do you work through McMahon at all, or?
If you want my honest opinion on the WWE, it's my dream to I don't want to be in the WWE. I would like to be in the NWA. I love the NWA, National Wrestling Alliance, because they're more true to what it is. Like I was discussing before, all these guys want to do all these backflips and whatever else, and that's fine. But it boils down to, if you're watching wrestling or football or anything like that, it should be competitive in some way. Okay? It should be 2 people going against each other, equal weights or abilities. And to me, I'd rather be with NWA, National Wrestling Alliance. Billy Corgan has an amazing vision as to what he's doing with them. He's building them up. So when I was trained to be a wrestler, you were taught real moves, like Greco-Roman moves or freestyle, folk style moves. So in case somebody wanted to hurt you in the ring, you'd know how to defend yourself. So age-wise, I'm all right, because I go back to a guy like Harley Race. Harley Race wrestled until he was maybe 60. Andre the Giant was afraid of that man. And Andre the Giant was 7'4" and 500 pounds, and Harley was 250, and I think he was about 6 foot. He slammed Andre the Giant at the Boston Garden on the floor. He was deathly afraid of that man. And I think it has more to do with your mind and how you prepare and how you work out, try and be consistent. So I give myself 5 more years, if that, and then move forward. I'm shooting films anyway, and I'm working on that on the side, which I'm trying to perfect, me being more of a documentarian. So as I'm going this wrestling journey, I'm also recording a lot what's happening, and I'm trying to turn it into a documentary. And there are a lot of issues in wrestling that I've been facing. It's hard to do it. She's new, so she doesn't really know a lot what's going on, but say you're making it. There's people that want you, they don't want you to make it because there's not that many slots. Highest slot, you'll get more money or you'll get a deal. I was wrestling, prior to this, I was wrestling up until 2016, but then I did have a very bad injury that I couldn't walk. My L4, L5 got jammed, and it was pressing on nerves, and I just had a hard time walking. And I couldn't walk correctly for a couple of years. I had to take, and you're talking about the hard times before. The hard times was when I had gotten that injury, and all my friends pretty much left. And the one friend that stuck with me, who got me through, I was taking oxycodines, and I was taking all these pain pills to get rid of the pain. And my friend Angel Orsini, who also wrestled, she got me through that, and I've been sober since, but and I've been clean since. But if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been able to get out of that, and I wouldn't have been able to even shoot films or do films. And so I see wrestling more as therapy rather than necessity. I only do it every once in a while, but it inspires me to want to be physically better than I am. If I don't think of when my next match is going to be, I get lazy and I don't work out. So
That's not good. You want to be
cardio.
stay toned.
Absolutely, cardio is good, and working out. But pro wrestling is a very interesting thing and be very powerful. Music too. We just did the New England Music Hall of Fame induction this past weekend. And
That's your baby, isn't it?
oh yeah,
Talk about that.
we did. We've inducted Grammy Award winners, Emmy Award winners. We just inducted somebody from the Kennedy Center honoree, and we've been around for 5 years. We made a promise to Lefty Foster every single induction we do. We donate to charity. We donate to food charity. We did an induction this past weekend in a blizzard and sold out. And we did it was a food fundraiser for what's called PACE, and they're out of New Bedford, Massachusetts. And what they do is they feed like 5,000 families a week. They do amazing work. And the local, the South Coast LGBT Network?
Yeah.
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 They're very kind. They help them out, and we helped them out that day, and we had the members of the Joe Perry Band there. We had Donna Summer's sister. We had Mary Callanan. She's a Tony Award winner. She was in the musical Mamma Mia.
Oh, okay.
She sang, and they did a documentary on Catherine Lee Bates. Catherine Lee Bates wrote the lyrics for America the Beautiful, and it's the anniversary, I believe, of her passing this year. And so her estate was there, and the documentary was there, so we inducted her posthumously. And our biggest thing with it is we want to preserve music history. Nobody knows who Little Richard is anymore. Nobody knows who Chuck Berry is. They don't know who Muddy Waters is. Did you know that? I asked a random younger person, do you know who Little Richard is? He said, is that a rapper? No. So my response to him was, my favorite rapper is my buddy Ed. He works at Sears, and he wraps Christmas presents. He didn't like that. So.
That's cute.
But we love it, and we love giving back to the community. If you get a bit of a pot of gold, it's okay to give some out, help people. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. You familiar with Gene Pitney?
Yeah. We inducted him in 2023. Connecticut guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hartford.
Yep. A lot of music history here, and then we have the Carpenters. We've wanted to induct the Carpenters in for years. It's just trying to get Richard, trying to contact him is very difficult. But the Carpenters deserve to be in. They deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't know why they're not. Yeah, and knowing Donna Summer's sister, her name's Linda Gaines. She came, and she was just the nicest lady. And You have
I
a
sat
lovely.
down and someone performed twice.
You
up
did?
at the Mohegan Sun.
What was that like?
It was terrific.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
She's
And I was not a disco guy when disco was hot, but she was good. Put on a good show.
I wasn't either, but the thing that I notice is this. I've been listening to albums like ABBA.
Yep.
They're musical geniuses. Musical geniuses. How they arrange that. I mean, that's. You know what's one of my favorite albums of all time is the Beach Boys. Anything by the Beach Boys. You know, Good Vibrations. That's one of my favorite songs. What they did with the music.
I think that was on the Pet Sounds.
Pet Sounds, yeah. Yeah, because there's a lady named Carol Kay. She did the bass riff there. And it was originally something else, but Carol Kay was in what's called the Wrecking Crew. They were studio musicians,
Okay.
and they would crank out hits. There's a whole documentary on it. But she played bass, and that ba-doon-doon-doon-doon, that was Carol Kay, and she redid his original bass riff, Brian Wilson. And Wilson, of course, is a genius.
Now, do you have any interaction with like the Gard Art Center or the Kate over in Saybrook?
Yeah, we actually inducted the Kate in 2022, and we did an induction for Connecticut Lyric Opera. We inducted them in 2023, I think, at the Gard Art Center. I believe they did a Wagnerian opera, and we inducted them there. And I think it was Tristan in Isola. I'm not saying it right, but maybe I'm not doing it very well. But we inducted at one of their productions, and I like the Gard. I'd like to do something there. It's a great place. The Kate's a great place too. My whole critique on the local New London area and Groton is the arts section in the day newspaper needs to be a lot bigger. But they don't really.
I don't know if they got the money to make it bigger right
That's
now. They're
why.
struggling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because sometimes what they'll do is they'll put it in the region section. But I have a theory. I feel as though that arts and the music could actually help our economy. It's just how we present it. You know, it should be presented for what it is. It could be more. It's more valuable than money. So you could definitely profit from it. But growing homegrown talent, because you also have. I mean, you have the hygienic. And you have the record store down the street. I can't remember it.
That's Rich Martin's place.
Yeah. What's it called? Telegraph, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because
He sells vinyl.
he sells vinyl, and Hugh Birdsall does a wonderful thing for the community there, and I like how he gets the community involved for helping again the homeless, and I just wish there were more concerts locally. You know, it's just and the Nick is a great place in Westerly, but the problem is you never really hear much about it. You know, if there was a news source where we could blast performing arts only.
You know, years ago at the Nick, I mean, you get Room Full of Blues, Eight to the Bar, and a lot of those swing bands. They were terrific.
Did you hear about the story when? And my friend Sean confirmed this. He does the sound over there. It was Stevie Ray Vaughan, I think B.B. King and Eric Clapton, and a couple others. They all went to the Nick after their gig, and they jammed all night. Nobody recorded it. It was just them jamming all night. And I spoke to the owner once from the Nick, and he told me Stevie would drive his car from Texas to Rhode Island, sleep in the parking lot, go in, eat some eggs, play that night, and then drive back. True story. That's why he's on that mural on the side.
Yeah, well, Stevie Ray Vaughan performed at the old, up in Norwich at the Rose Arts.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. I heard he also performed at the Groton Motor Inn, I guess, too. But he was a very gifted musician, and sad how he passed away. But he was on, he was on the David Bowie, one of his albums, and that's how he got discovered. And David wanted him to be on tour with him, and he said, "No, I'm going to do my own thing," and he did. But there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of music history. James Cotton performed here. B.B. King performed here. Muddy Waters performed here. And again, I had an argument with the original owner of Muddy Waters Cafe. I think it was Sue Devlin. I said, "Sue, did you name it after the musician Muddy Waters?" He's like, "No, it's because of the river." I'm like, "Oh, sure." Ironically, you're playing blues in there too. But that's the thing. Music preservation. It's important because everyone thinks everything was made by Taylor Swift, or Lady Gaga. You're like, "Oh, Lady Gaga." They'll say it's a classic album. It's Lady Gaga. Well, who did it originally? It was this person. Well, she sampled it from this person. So, but we're trying to do that. We're trying to also unite through music and heal through music too.
So your Hall of Fame, though, you don't have a location. It's like I can't go to Hartford or Worcester or Boston and visit the New England Music Hall of Fame.
No, what we did was we did have a location the first year, but then we realized that it's New England. It's New England's all the states,
Yeah.
So we can't be partial. We are a registered business in Connecticut, and Senator Heather Summers gave us a lovely proclamation at the Cape one year. But, I'll be honest, I like how we're doing it now because we're having it so we travel. So next year we're now going to officially have the New England Music Hall of Fame induction tour. So we'll go to, say we do it at Toad's Place. We already inducted Toad's Place this year, so why not? Toad's Place, Chan's in Woonsocket. We'd love to do at the Richfield Playhouse. A lot of history there. Maybe do something at the Cape, and help also piggyback off of other people's inductions, so it builds the press up for them. So I'm just using this as an example. Let's just say, I don't know, Paul McCartney was performing. I'm not saying we're inducting Paul McCartney, and although we don't mind inducting him, and that'd be fine. And he says, "Okay, well, I'm going to be performing at the Mohegan Sun." Cool, we'll do your induction at the Mohegan Sun. Not that he needs us, but it would be to help make it more special and spectacular. And that's also what we noticed with it, because we were doing that indirectly. And so, and then we give them an award. It's called the Whaler Award. And it's a whale tail that myself and my friend Steve Prescott made.
Okay.
We made it out of a railroad spike. And we split the middle, and we made a whale tail, and we had it casted. And the Mystic Foundry in Mystic, Connecticut, they're now going to be casting the whale tails for our awards.
Nice.
Yeah, so we keep it local. And the piece of wood that is nailed onto that is we find the scrap wood on the shipyards, and we just cut it, and we put it on there, and they have a piece of New England.
It's perfect. You do anything with Newport?
I'd like to. I love Newport.
Yeah, I mean, you got the annual Newport Jazz Festival.
Yeah.
Which is,
And you know what happened there with the location there is so perfect. And you know they have the world's oldest baseball field there?
I did not.
Yeah, and then the
They've got
tennis
the Tennis Hall of Fame there.
down the street. Yep, and when you go through there, there's this baseball field, and it's the world's oldest baseball field. Ty Cobb played there, Jackie Robinson, Babe Ruth, you name it, they all played there at some point.
I learned something new tonight. Actually,
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of new things tonight. Have to have you on more often.
I'd love to, Marty. Thank you. I love this. I love their show. It's a wonderful show.
Well, we're getting down to our last couple of minutes here. Is there anything that you'd like to share that we perhaps haven't touched on yet? Or maybe Vanessa's got something that she's been holding back on us on here.
Not really, no. But we're doing a wrestling promotion this Sunday. Chris knows more about it.
Yeah, it's at the First Presbyterian Church. I'm going to be wrestling in with an organization called Wrestling and Recovery. Dennis Little runs it, and Wrestling Recovery is a wrestling organization that helps people with recovery, and it helps get them, sober. And it's at First Presbyterian Church in New Jersey, Woodbridge, New Jersey, and we're going to be doing. I'm going to be in the match with. I'm wrestling as Rescue 911 Chris Valiant. I was a firefighter at one point in my life. So I wrestle as a first responder, Rescue 911 Chris Valiant, named after my trainer. And I'm going to be in the triple threat match, which is me versus the Twisted Jester and some German guy. I don't know, but I just hope I can get through it. With this tendon thing messed up, so.
I don't know. I got confidence in you.
Maybe she can help me. I don't know.
Seems to me she's doing a pretty good job.
She is. I couldn't do any of this stuff without her.
Yeah. Keep you on the straight and narrow.
Yes.
Before we part tonight, I just would like to note that a week from tomorrow, I will be a guest on Lee Elsey's radio program at 6:30 in the morning on 94.9 FM on your dial, discussing local issues. Lee has me on periodically, and I always enjoy sharing some time on the Voice of Freedom with Lee Elsey. So tune us in next week. And I don't have a guest scheduled for City Focus yet for next week, but believe me, we'll have somebody in here to rattle your cage a little bit, and we'll have a little bit of fun. But I want to thank you guys for coming in. This has been really terrific. Thank you so much. And folks, you've been watching City Focus. And as I say, we'll see you again next week. And I want to thank my guests. And they've been good. I wasn't kidding. We'll have you back.
Thank you.
Folks, we'll say good night. We'll see you next week on City Focus.